I'm here today to introduce our new home learning policy for our S1 to S3 in the Faculty of Language and Communication. So I wanted to kind of give you a wee overview of what the process is going to be for your child this year and give you some hints and tips of how you could best support your young person through this process. There is a completely revised home learning policy for S1 and S2 this year, and we're really going to be focusing on developing literacy skills through promoting reading for enjoyment at home. We have selected in the department books that we think are going to be really interesting for your young person. So they cover a range of genres, a range of themes, to interest a range of young people. Okay, so over S1 and S2, the idea is that each student will have read these books, and that's going to give them a really nice foundation for moving up into S3 and beyond. The format is going to be that each term your young person will be issued with one of these books, so they'll have the book to take home. They will be asked 2 or 3 times a week to read a section of the novel. When they come back to class, there will be activities related to what they have read. Okay, so that'll be focusing on ideas, themes, messages, vocabulary, setting, whatever the teacher wants to pick out from that section of the text. And that will become a class discussion as well. So we're really trying to enrich the process of reading for the young person. There is also a recording of each of these books available on Audible or on YouTube. So if you think that is something that might help your young person engage with the reading, then there is that option as well. The only time that we will interrupt this home learning format is when we are coming to a high stakes assessment within the English department. So there'll be 2 high stakes assessments in the year, and that is reading for understanding, analysis and evaluation, where a young person is asked to interpret and analyse a newspaper article. We are studying RUE during the year, so there will be 1 period dedicated to that each week. So when we come to assessment time for that, we would stop our reading homework, and then we would have some activities, some revision materials for RUE, and they would go out for the weeks prior to the high stakes assessment. And there are QR codes available within the school, and they'll be on your young person's Google Classroom as well, where they can access revision videos for all of their RUE strategies. So that'll be the only time that home learning of the reading is interrupted. You'll also find that there will be supported study on offer for those assessments. For S3, we're going to be continuing the model that they would have experienced in S2, so that's that real focus on RUE. And we think that's quite important in 3rd year because RUE does make up an element of the exam in 4th year and in 5th year, so it can be a really good foundation for your young person to focus on that element of literacy as they move towards kind of the end of their broad general education. They should have a home learning activity every fortnight for revision of RUE, and again in the lead up to a high stakes assessment we would have supported study on offer. They have the QR codes and revision materials on their Google Classroom as well. So overall, in summary, you can expect that your young person will have some literacy based homework every week or every fortnight. One thing would be to perhaps support the young person to create a schedule or a timetable for completing this homework. So you really want to work with them, come up with an agreement, when would be a good time for you to do this, how regularly should you do it, what time of day. I think if you were to have that discussion, that could be really helpful. It would also be helpful if you were to ask questions, particularly about the reading. I think, what is your book about, who are the characters, where is it set, what do you think about this. You could have a little read as well perhaps when your young person's not reading, and that would be a really good way to engage with the book. And you could also ask about the RUE, what's that newspaper article about? Could you tell me something about it? What do you think the writer's opinion is? There are sorts of questions that you could be asking. It's also really important to praise your young person for the effort that they're putting in. So if you can see, they spent a good bit of time on that, or I can see they've made a wee bit of progress there, you really want to be kind of praising and engaging with that. And ultimately I would ask if you could help out with our materials. So obviously these books need to come back and they need to go out to other classes. So just trying to make sure that they stay in good condition and that they make their way back to us so that other young people can benefit from that. So really that's a wee bit of an overview of what we're thinking in the English department this year. We're really this big push on literacy, and what we're hoping is that through really focusing on vocabulary and wider ideas in this literature, that's really going to open up other areas of the curriculum for your young person, because obviously literacy is central to all subjects within the curriculum.